What's happening, guys? So today I want to talk about something that seems to be really misunderstood in the fitness community, and that is jumping around from program to program way too often and feeling like you need to confuse your muscles or avoid adaptation. Like, I've heard that one a lot. Like, I change things up all the time because, otherwise the body adapts, and you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Well, that's actually the exact opposite of what you want. Now, yes, you have to change your program sometimes, and you can't do the same thing forever, but you have to understand that change actually happens through adaptation. Adaptation is what forces your body to change. So if you're trying to build muscle, you need to force the body to adapt to what you're doing so that it'll build up stronger and adapt to that, and then you make changes from there. So think of it this way, like if you're changing your program and you're doing completely different stuff every single week and there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to what you're doing, your body has no reason to adapt. And if your body changes through adaptation, then why would you want to avoid having your body adapt? Here's the thing, like, how often should you change your programming, or how often should you deload is a question I got recently. And that's a highly variable concept, and it depends on a lot of different things, but typically between like 4 and 8 weeks is a pretty normal standard time of training, and then going through a deload and then changing up your training a little bit. So here's how change happens. You give your body a stimulus, you force your body to adapt to that stimulus, and then you recover from that stimulus, and then you give it a new stimulus. So that's where the deloads come into play, and that's why you need to give the body time. So I usually program my blocks for clients around 6 weeks. Most of them are 6 weeks long. I feel like that's a really good amount of time to allow enough time for the body to adapt, make sure that you're getting a good amount of training, getting fatigue high towards the end to kind of make sure that you're pushing yourself. And then once you get there, then you recover, get a little bit of super compensation, and then change things up and do something else. Now, it doesn't mean you have to change your program like enormously and do completely different everything, but you're going to want to change some things up, change up some exercises, change up some assistance exercises if you have some main lifts that you want to do all the time, change up some rep schemes and intensities and things like that. And you definitely want to go through periodization of your training. So anyway, when you're starting a training program, set it up in a way that you're going to do this consistently for a while rather than all over the place. So if you have a normal week of training, say you're doing 2 upper and 2 lower days, and you have certain lifts that you're going to do, pick some lifts that you're going to do for that training block, right? Keep it the same, have around the same rep schemes for each time, and stick with it, right? Do that for 5, 6, 7 weeks. Allow the body to adapt to what you're doing. Certainly push yourself and try to do better. It doesn't mean you always have to do more weight all the time. That's just not always going to happen, but you want to be pushing yourself. And once you get to the end of a training block, then you recover, and then you can change some things up. You can change exercises. All right, you might have some main lifts that you do each time, some lifts that are more important to you, but your assistance exercises you might want to change every once in a while. You change up the rep schemes and the intensities and how you do things. Occasionally add in some drop sets, but not all the time. Change things up, but don't change things up all the time. Change things up each training block. So hopefully that makes sense. But main point of the message is, do not change all the time. Adaptation is not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. You just have to make sure that you're changing things up once you do adapt to the training, because once you've adapted, you're not going to see further changes from what you're doing. So it's kind of a fine line between waiting long enough and going too fast. So anyway, that's what I have for this video. Any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you guys later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.